welcome to another video episode of my podcast. My name is Cheryl, and this is Cappuccino Crafts, my little channel on YouTube and my corner of the general interwebs where I like to talk about knitting and crochet and books and TV and movies I'm enjoying and other life and chatty things that I want to share with you. Thank you so much for choosing to watch this video and spend a little bit of your time with me. I hope that you enjoy it. Please settle in, get yourself a delicious beverage, get your yarn, your hook, your needles, whatever you like, and maybe your embroidery or your spinning, and let's enjoy some chatty time. Today is Monday the 14th of December, and our family always celebrates Christmas. Christmas is quickly approaching, and so been thinking about and planning and doing a little bit of minimal shopping and getting ready to send some cards and getting ready to celebrate Christmas. It's going to be a lot like Thanksgiving this year, where any family time is going to be like virtual on video chat. That's just how it is this year. And yeah, it's so strange and it's a little difficult. So I think we're all struggling a little bit with that aspect of the holidays this year, and hope that you're doing all right. And I hope that you do find fun and festive ways to celebrate and to connect and see your family, however that looks, whatever form that takes. And I hope that you will all stay safe and have a lot of fun too. Yeah. Let's get to the crafting. I am progressing on this sleeve. I only have one set of US size 6 needles, so I can only, this takes a smaller needle, and I had 2 sets of tips for that size. But now that I need the larger size needle, I only have 1 set of needle tips. So this is still exactly where it was. But yeah. And the toes are finished except for the Kitchener stitch to close them up. But that's all they need, just a Kitchener to close them, and this pair of socks will be finished. So I'm pretty much counting them as finished for this episode. They will be finished tonight or tomorrow morning when I do the Kitchener, and then I will probably put them on my feet. But yay, these were a fun pair of socks. I adapted the stitch pattern from a pair of fingerless mitts. The English translation for the name is Shiny Dragonscale, so I'm calling these my Shiny Dragonscale socks. And the designer for the fingerless mitts is Micha Klein. And also I wanted to say about this sweater. This sweater is the Fidelia cardigan. And it is a bottom up, and starting with the sleeves and then the body. I like starting with the sleeves because most of the time I'm ending with the sleeves, and that's not so fun. So starting with the sleeves and getting them out of the way is a good thing. And also it gives you a chance to check how correct you were on your gauge estimation and get an idea how the sizing is going to work out. And if you decide that you needed to change, well, then you didn't do a whole big piece. You just worked part of a sleeve, and that's not so bad to have to rip that out. So it's kind of like a swatch. Yeah, a sleeve swatch. But also I am buddy knitting the Fidelia pattern with a lovely viewer. And if anybody else wants to get some worsted yarn and do a cardigan in any color, or if you want to do the Fidelia cardigan, please feel free to join in and knit a cozy wintry cardigan. This is very laid back and casual buddy knit / knit along. There's not going to be any deadline or anything like that, just kind of knitting our projects around the same time and enjoying doing that together. So yeah, reading has been going well, and this morning my second box from page 1, the book subscription I joined for 3 months, arrived. And so I will put in a little clip. I was impatient. I wanted to open it right away, so I filmed it. So here you go. Good morning. I am still having my morning coffee. And here we go. Another bookmark. And another card. This card says, winter is the time for comfort, for the good food and warmth, for the touch of a friendly hand. Oh, we're not having a lot of that recently. Being distanced from each other. And for a talk beside the fire. It is time for home. Yeah, cozy home, cold winter vibes. I love it. And that was a quote from Edith Sitwell. I don't recognize that author's name. But whether or not you are able to be home with your loved ones, we hope you find comfort and love in this holiday season. Well, thank you. And I hope that for everyone too, wherever you are. Yeah. And look, the book is wrapped up like a little gift. And underneath it, here is the special extra. It's a calendar. It's a small calendar, the Reading Woman 2021 calendar. And it's got paintings of women reading. I like it. There's the back. I like it. That's very nice. And now for the main event. Let's open the special gift. Wrapped in a ribbon. And brown paper. Let's see. Let's see. Ooh, red. You see the color red. Well, orangey red. It's kind of holiday. Little by Edward Carey. Let's read the back. In 1761, a tiny-bodied, big-hearted orphan named Marie is apprenticed to an eccentric wax sculptor and whisked off to the royalsome streets of Paris, where they meet a domineering widow and her quiet, pale son. Together they establish an exhibition hall for wax figures, and the spectacle becomes a sensation. Sounds like it might be based on Madame Trousseau's. But even as Marie's talent captures the attention of the royal family, a revolutionary mob takes to the streets, the French Revolution, demanding heads. And at the Wax Museum, heads are what they do. Little is a modern masterpiece, a luminous tale of innocence and rogues, philosophers and prisoners, and the ambitious girl who captured them all. Oh, it sounds so interesting. At first I thought it might be a different book. There's a fantasy novel with, I thought the title might have been just Little, but it's got Little in the title, and I thought this might be that, but it's not. I would have been happy with either, but this is something new that I hadn't had on my radar, and it sounds so interesting. And it's got some illustrations splattered through. Look at that puppy face. Anyway, this is going to be so interesting. Oh, nice pick. Nice pick. I hope you enjoyed seeing that clip and finding out what was in the surprise box. Yay! And yeah, I finished those 3 romance books that I was in the middle of last week. That was book 1 in the Side Changeling series, Slave to Sensation, and then the holiday rom-com novel by Christina Lauren, In a Holidays, and then historical female romance between a female scientist and her patron, who is a rich widow, and they develop a relationship, and Yeah, so I finished all of those. The endings were good. The 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 holiday rom-com was, very sentimental and kind of sappy, but you know what? That's what you expect in a holiday rom-com. It's all about the holiday sappiness and sentiment. So um, that is totally allowed at holiday time. And the sci-fi kind of speculative story and the world building in that sci-fi romance was really good. I do plan on continuing in that series. Yeah, I think there's a lot of politics. It looks like there is a war building between um, the different factions. So I'm excited to see how that develops in the larger story. Um, but I kind of enjoyed the romance being intertwined in there too, and they really are like well woven together where they yeah. So the things in the romance part affect the character development, which affect the the investigation, affect the larger story, and everything develops together, and I really like that. Um, so yeah, reading has been going good. I've started a couple of new things. I got from the library. My hold came available for the Plain Bad Heroines audiobook, which is a new release. Um, and I'm about 30% through. It is really dark and creepy and wintry and spooky. It is a dual timeline. There's a there's a historical timeline like 1902. Some terrible events happened at a boarding school for girls, and now in 2014 they're making a movie about it because somebody wrote a book. Somebody wrote I don't know if it's straight historical or if it was a historical fiction novel. Anyway, so that is being now adapted into a movie in Los Angeles, and the actors and the writer is consulting on the set, and so some parallel things I think are going to be happening during the filming and with the actors and the author. So yeah, it's the writing is really, the pace is kind of slow, but the writing is very I wouldn't say that the writing style is purple prose, like overly flowery and super stylistic. Um, but it is like a little bit elevated, and it's got a very nice, um, a little more literary feel, and the characters are definitely the focus. Um, yeah, and the characters are very messy. They are not necessarily likable. Um, yeah, Plain Bad Heroines is a good title. they're not like your charming, lovely, kind and likable sort of women. They're messy. And the story, like I said, it's got a book within a book too. There's like this book that seems to be book that was published in 1902, that seems to be having a sinister influence, and may or may not be somewhat the cause of some tragic deaths at the school. And there may or may not still be some influence still going on, and may or may not be ghosts. I also started a collection of literary fairy tales written by Helen Oyemi. The title of the collection is What Is Not Yours Is Not Yours. Yeah. And I've never read Helen Oyemi. I have heard from people that she is very kind of surreal, magical, realism, symbolic, not necessarily straightforward, and definitely that is the case. These are fairy tales that they have a timeless atmosphere to them, in that some of the storytelling and some of the elements of the fairy tales are very old traditional fairy tale story techniques and fairy tale tropes from really early the history of fairy tales. So that feels very like old and mythological and grounded, but also they are set in a modern setting that she also doesn't like take you out of it by like having a lot of too much modern stuff. It just has a very timeless and dreamlike atmosphere, and they are like surreal in the way that dreams are surreal and confusing. I'm not sure I'm understanding them really on the full level. I mean, I can follow the basic things, but I'm sure I'm missing a lot of things. I think these are stories that deserve a reread if you enjoyed them the first time. I think definitely this is not for everyone. It is very much its own flavor and style, and I can see people just being frustrated and annoyed, and I would say absolutely it could be very frustrating and annoying reading these stories. So yeah, I have read 3 so far, and I'm close to halfway through. Yeah, I plan on finishing it. And I think with a collection like this, even if there's only like 2 stories that really speak to you, those 2 stories are probably worth it trying out the book. And again, this was from the library, so it's not like a risk. Yeah, Yeah, so that's Helen Oyemi. What's not yours is not yours. And I think that brings us to the end. I hope that you are doing well and that all of your family and loved ones are safe and healthy. And I hope that you are enjoying your preparations for the holiday season and finding some festive spirit. And I hope that your creative projects are going very well. And I wonder what you're working on, and have you made any gifts? I am not making any gifts this year. But if you are making any handmade gifts, I'd love to hear about what you're making and who you're making it for. And take care. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.